Good morning and welcome to Monday and week 5, or the start of month 2 of Dragon's Back training. Can't believe 4 weeks has gone already. Only 45 training weeks left. Ticking them off. So last 4 weeks pretty much has all been base work. So we had 4 weeks of 50 mile a week, a couple of races punctuating that as well. This week is going to be much shorter. It'll only end up with about 30 miles, but I'm going to cram that all in on 3 days because we got a 5 miler this morning with track in the evening. That'll be 12. Then there'll be a 5/6 recovery on Tuesday afternoon, and then a 14/15 mile morning trail run, because then on Thursday go in for a quick heart procedure, and that will mean 10 days off. So I'll probably do a review of that rucksack I was raving about for the tail end of this week's video, just to fill up some space, make sure it's a bit more than 10 minutes long. So yeah, week 5, month 2. See you later. I feel like I should mention the pace of training every week in case somebody comes to one of these videos in isolation, which is highly likely, I suppose. Nobody's going to go back and watch all of them one by one. And so it's really just to say that when you see me out running, if I'm not doing intervals at the track, or I've told you it's a tempo run of some sort or a race, then pretty much all of my running is around about the 9 to 10 minute miling pace, which is just to keep the heart rate firmly in zone 2. So although on a Monday at track and things like that I might be getting down to under 340 k's, under 6 minute miling, there's a huge differential to the rest of the week's training. So please, if you see me pushing myself like crazy on the camera, please don't assume that ever happens off camera, unless I've said it's intervals, tempos or races. It's all this lovely jogging along pace, nice and easy, 130 beats a minute. Good evening and welcome to Track Monday nights. Here we are again, comes around so quick. So tonight's session is 16 times 300 meters off a 100 meter walk recovery. Now the club's faces all drop when I describe this session. I think it's here in the 16 reps is what does their heads in. But truth be known, it's all over quite quick because you're not really hanging around with a 100 meter walk. And if it was a normal training Monday when I hadn't worked so hard over the weekend, I would be doing these in mile race pace. But tonight, truth be told, the weekend's racing activities and these 50 mile weeks are taking their toll now, so I'm going to drop down a couple of groups and just get the legs turning over without any much or too much stress. So we'll see how it goes. Sometimes I've said that and then I go a bit bonkers, but I'm trying to be more sensible now. Anyway, because I can't do any reps or intervals for about a month after this anyway, so no real point in overdoing it tonight. So 3 mile warm up as usual. Let's see how the session goes and I'll let you know on the Tuesday run in the morning. See you then. Good morning and welcome to Tuesday the 15th of October. Happy birthday, Dad. Probably not watching this on this day, are you? But I'll give you a call later on. Anyway, track session last night, that was interesting. It was funny announcing it. I just said tonight's session is 16 times, and pause, deadly silence. But yeah, everybody nailed it. 16 300s. I was true to my word, put myself down a group and well, yeah, behaved myself for probably the first 14 reps or maybe 12 reps, and then who can't resist a little bit of a burn up once you're warmed up. But yeah, you got to have some fun. That's what intervals are all about, as well as good hard training. So yeah, last interval's for about 4 weeks, all zone 2 stuff after Thursday. So yeah, I'll wait till it gets a little bit more daylight before I film anymore. I think I keep disappearing and going invisible. It's so dark at 7:30 in the morning. See you in a bit. Yeah, so it was really interesting. Putting myself down one group, I found myself in the group with my daughter Katrina, and I thought to myself, first of all, oh, this will be nice, just some sort of cruisy reps, just following Trina around, nice to train with her for a change. And no, she is really fast, and hence that's why I probably pushed a little bit too hard in that session, but it doesn't matter, I survived it. But yeah, Trina's going really well. She's been following a little coaching plan I've set her, and sort of focusing on 5k, which I think is where her sweet spot is. So that's great, because I get somebody to train with who's doing quick stuff. And then Izzy, who is doing Dragon's Back with us, she's up in the lakes, and she's got the real jump on me over this last month. She's had good base work. She's knocking on getting close to 40 mile a week now, which is big miles for her, but she's managed to get stacks of elevation in, as you can imagine, and lots of hiking on top of that. So yeah, quite the advantage. So when we meet up first couple of days of December to Recce Leg 5, I think Izzy's going to be pretty strong, probably dragging me around, but I intend to stay in zone 2, and I'm not worried about how quickly we do it. We're doing it over 2 days. First bit to penny fan, and then day after we'll do penny fans at the end. So looking forward to that. So what I wanted to talk about on this run was footwear, because I've got a pair of High Estate Soil Shaker 2s which literally will never give me a blister. I've run the 50 miles Saffron Trail in them, I've done ultras, all sorts of things, and they are literally like slippers. The only thing is, they do not grip on rock. And when I did the Skyline, in Edale Skyline in Derbyshire in them, I slipped on a rock, took a big tumble, probably the worst tumble I've taken in my whole life actually. Still plays on the mind a little bit. And yeah, that was because I put my foot in on a rock and went to jump, and it just went from under me, no grip at all. And that was quite a dry rock as well. So they're not fit for purpose. So I've ordered a pair of Scarpa, is it Golden Gates 2s, which I found a good price on. They're going to hopefully come today, so I'll be able to get out on my 15-mile trail tomorrow morning. Obviously there's no wet rock to test them out on in Essex, but by all reports a lot of the people who did Dragon's Back this year wore those shoes, so they must be fit for purpose. But I've got to make sure they're fit for my feet, so I need something. I've got a very narrow foot that can move around in shoes quite a bit if they're not snug. So hopefully they'll work out. Otherwise, investment in shoes along this journey is going to be quite the drain, because you just got to keep going until you find something that you know you can run long miles in and not have to worry about. But I'm really keeping everything fingers crossed for these shoes tomorrow. I've got my Scots on this morning. They're mildly comfortable, but I can tell that there's enough rubbing areas and odd spots that they wouldn't suit me for a big day on my feet. So good for training though, short distances. Right, last thing I'd like to say on this run is I listened to an excellent podcast from the Tea and Trails people where they were interviewing Max King, the winner of this year's Dragon's Back, and I already thought Max King was a legend because he gave us quite a bit of time to talk when he was the first one into the tent in the when we were volunteering. He was quite happy to chat to me and Izzy for a little while, not long, but I didn't want to take up his eating time and recovery time. But listening to the podcast, there was a part of it that my ears pricked right up, and that was when he said that he went for the American record in the 3,000 metres steeplechase, the veterans record we're talking about, because the guy's 44 I think, and he ran 9:02, 9:02 for steeplechase is bonkersly quick by anybody's standard. I mean, when I was racing it flat out in my prime, 9:48, something like that, I think. So, I mean, gosh, that is really quick. But that's not the point. The point is, he did that in the same year, I believe, that he did Dragon's Back. And anybody who knows me and who has watched Vjog 5 or 6, I'm not sure which one, knows I love the steeplechase as well, and had a little bit of fun this year up in Derby in the National Masters Champs, and I'm toying with going up there again and having some fun with it again. And now that I know Max can tie in steeplechase and Dragon's Back, that's all the inspiration I need, isn't it? Definitely getting the entry in. I just hope it doesn't clash with any of these big ultras I've booked up on my journey, because there's a high likelihood, and I can't really prioritise steeplechase over a big ultra. But even if I can't do it at the Nationals, there'll be Essex Champs, and there'll be probably a Southern League I can convince the organisers to let me in on. So yeah, watch this space. 2025, let's see what we can do over the steeplechase as well. In a way, it's good practice because you've got the barriers to jump and you've got the wall to jump, and if you can't handle those with great agility and strength, then you're probably not prepared enough for something like Dragons. So that's probably why Max excels at it, to be honest. It's one of the hardest track disciplines to do, and yeah, very inspiring. I'll put the link to the podcast down in the description so you can have a listen as well, because the whole interview is fantastic. Anyway, enough for now. 4 miles into this. See you on tomorrow's Wednesday long run. Actually, just something else I'll add on this run. In case anybody is watching this for training tips really for the Dragon, which is probably likely given the title. I'm not sure how much I can, it's all coming from my own head, most of this, to be honest. But if you do want to follow somebody who has got the experience because he ran it in that really hot year in 2023 and completed it very, very well, and he's a qualified, very well qualified running coach. He's got a YouTube channel as well. He's doing Dragon's Back 2025 and he is documenting the journey as well. So that's Will PT. Will PT. To save you trying to find it, I'll put a link to his channel in the comments. So that would be an excellent one to follow. Certainly I'm taking hints and tips from Will, and we met on the volunteering event this year, 2024. So he's a great person to know, especially when you're preparing for the same race, and it'll be great that he'll be taking part as well. So yeah, pop a subscribe, pop a couple of likes, watch a couple of his videos. It's early days, he's building base like me at the moment, but I think you'll enjoy the channel. Good morning and welcome to Wednesday. Oh, what a run this is. Set off at 20 past 5 in the morning. It's obviously been raining a hell of a lot because these Essex trails are proper mud now, so that's slowed my miles down by 2 minutes a mile, especially in the dark when you can't really see where you're going. But boy, did we see some wildlife this morning. Definitely badgers, loads of them, and I don't know whether badgers do make a sort of a pig noise, but I could hear a pig noise really loud around me. I don't think it was a farmyard pig. So maybe we have got wild boar in Essex, unless badgers are known to make that noise as well. Either way, it was very enchanting, a little bit spooky, very enjoyable. So let's wait till 10 miles in to have enough daylight to film. Just about to see where I'm going now, and yeah, about 5 miles to go. Loving it. Speak to you soon. Right, here we go. Everybody knows how much I love a Ford. That's it, a Ford. Oh yes, and that is proper refreshing. First thing in the morning. Got my trail shoes properly cleaned off there, didn't I? Okay, very quick hack. You got your water bladder, You want to dry it out really, really well. Squeezed up old water bottle. Ram that right down in there. Creates a load of space before you do your usual hanging up in the airing cupboard. So, hi and welcome to Friday. Let's report some good news, shall we? Yesterday I was up at Basildon Hospital in Basildon, of course, Essex, yeah that's it, in Essex, in the capable hands of the Cardiac Thoracic Centre, and it was for an ablation, which is simply an operation where there's a little bit of a burning of some of the electrical pathways in the heart. Now this all sprang from if you watch Vjog 3, the Bannister Miles interview with Steve Cram, you'll see that at the Bannister Miles I had a bit of a race day disaster where I couldn't actually run flat out because, unbeknown to me at the time, my heart had tripped into atrial flutter, which doesn't allow for high level athletic performance, as that video clearly makes out. Anyway, with all this training for Dragon's Back, we don't really want that happening again. So especially on some of the big ridges or the high mountains, it would be quite an athletic disaster. So this was a preventative measure whereby the electrical pathways, as I say, have been ablated or burnt to prohibit the electrical impulses going around in the same manner again, and therefore essentially flutter should be prevented in the future. So good news, all done. I'm now Friday and enforced rest because the entry site is in the hip area, and it's there's no opening your heart up. It's all done via catheters going up inside your veins, all very clever stuff. So obviously the wound site has got to heal, so no running for 3 days, and then I can gently walk, then start jogging again in zone 2 for a couple of weeks before getting back to intervals and regular training. So yeah, pulse is a little bit high at the moment, sitting here at about 80 odd beats a minute, which is to be expected because obviously it's quite a traumatic thing to do to the inside of the heart, and I'm sure it's going to take a few days just to settle down back into its normal relaxed 45 beats a minute when I'm sitting down. So yeah, good news, onwards and upwards, and nice to get this operation out of the way early on the Dragon's Back training journey because yeah, I had a little bit of apprehension of wondering whether it was all going to go smoothly, and it's such a relief that it has. And just to say, a couple of days recovery, a couple of weeks of jogging, and we're all good to go again. Aced. So, since I can't talk about running for much of the rest of this week, let's talk about kit, shall we? So, first of all, one of my biggest concerns for Dragon's Back is what am I going to wear on my feet, because I've got my go-to trail running shoes, which are brilliant for the Essex mud, but they don't grip on wet rock, and to be fair, they don't even grip on wet Essex roads very well. And during the Edale Skyline race in March last year, I put one of these pairs of shoes, which I won't mention, on some wet rock, slipped off immediately as I was trying to jump off, took a tumble down a crevasse, landed on my back at probably one of my worst running falls ever. And that plays on my mind, as I think I've said before, and it does sort of it made me a little bit nervous about some of the wet rock big climbs and scrambles that I'm going to face in the mountains. So I've got to experiment with new shoes and find out which ones are comfortable, blister free, and fit for purpose. So first ones are these lovely things. These are the Scarpa Golden Gate 2, which Scarpa sponsor Dragon's Back. So a lot of the runners wear Scarpas and are sponsored by Scarpa. And of the reviews I've read, this is the one that most people said was their go-to shoe for the whole race. And I must admit, just walking around on a vinyl floor indoors, you almost trip over because they grip too well. So they'll get an outing, the next one I do, in 4 or 5 days' time. And I may even go for a little walk around the house a few times as well. They do look like they'll be good for me because they don't feel like they've got any sort of hard bits in the back here. It does feel very soft, and they've got a sock-like inner. So yeah, we'll find out what they're like. Hopefully they'll be really, really good. And what I'd like to talk about as well is backpacks, because I've actually had delivery of 2. I've got this thing here, which I'll talk about in a minute, and the green one. and they're both ANIG, which is a Chinese make. So they're not particularly expensive, but they are very, very well made and well designed as well. Now, they've both got very, very, very similar characteristics that I love. And what I'll do is I'll talk you through the green one first, which is the, I don't know if it's got a model number. I'll tell you what I do. I can't find the model number on the bag, so I'll put it up as a title underneath this review. But as I said on other runs, I love things with loads and loads of little pockets that you can actually get at the front, plus obviously the water bottle pockets as well. Because I like to keep all my salt tablets and my gels and little nibbles very accessible without taking the backpack off. So this has got loads of those. It's even got a little salt tablet place there, and a place for your tracker, which could be zipped in, although apparently they'll still want to tape it on because they don't like how they work through the material, but we'll see about that. And lovely side pouches, very capacious. You could probably put some clothing in there, I imagine, on both sides. And a pull flap at the back as well on the rear, outside of the main compartment, so you can put your water jacket in there, so somebody can just take it out for you and give it to you if it starts to get a bit inclement weather. So I love all that sort of stuff. Those bits are identical on all of them. This one is, look at that, the huge capacity one with a roll-up top, which is really good, and it's waterproof as well inside, so I'm led to believe. And when I tested it, it was waterproof as well. Now, the thing I don't like about this one though, huge capacity, but to get to the water bladder, you have to go in through the actual bag to get to the little pouch that the water bladder goes in. And then it's got this nice little clip to hold it up at the top, which is nice. But if you've got a lot of other stuff in there, clothing and whatnots, and you come to a water station, I think that's going to be a little bit awkward to get to. So yeah, that's one thing I don't like about it. There is another zipper here on the outside where you've got a load more storage and a place for your keys, which is always handy, just to make sure you don't lose them. So I like that bag. It was very comfortable on my run, very comfortable. I'll do a proper review some other time, but this is just a quick view to fill up this week's video. Now, this one, exactly the same, same sort of pouches at the front, same little holes here. But what this does differently, which is far better, it's a little less capacity, but I still think it'll probably be enough capacity for dragons. It's got a little inside pouch for your keys and valuables and things you want to keep safe. But this is where it trumps the other one. It's got a separate water pouch altogether from the main compartment, a completely different zipper. There's where all your clothing goes, and then you've got a separate zipper here for your water bladder. I think that's a far better design because just sheerly from access on the run. Other thing I like, this one, the bit that goes around your lumbar has got its own little side pouches, which are very stretchy and very capacious, so you could get a hell of a lot of snacks in there. And I've tested this, you can actually get to them very, very easily while you're running. So not only have you got the water bottle storage and these little pouches for little things, you've got good access to these, which the green one didn't have. It's still got the side big pouch as well on the outside with these little clippers that clip that up there and there, so you've got quite a lot of storage outside of the main compartment as well. So all in all, pretty good. This also does something different to the green one. The green one, when you put your water hose in, it comes out of a little slot at the top, which is fine, but then it drapes around all over the place and you have to find little bits on your bag to tie it down. Whereas this has got the little straps to feed it through, and it's very easy to feed the other end when you're not drinking from it into that little strap. So from that point of view, this one wins hands down, because I hate having the blue drinking fountain thing flapping about all over the place, and you don't really want to be fiddling with other areas to put it away on the run, because your fingers don't work properly, do they, after you've been running for quite a while in the cold. So I think this one, as long as I can get everything in it, all the kit we have to carry, will be absolutely ideal. And this carries my poles better as well, because if I'm understanding the bag correctly, this little bit here, which is very grippy, is where you slide your poles into, and then you can use this side bit, which is very stretchy and adjustable, to clip the other end of the poles. I haven't tried running like that yet, but I reckon that will do the trick as well. So they both come with a support for your back, which I haven't taken out yet because it actually feels quite comfortable and it doesn't seem to add too much to the weight. So yeah, I think this bag could be the one. I won't know till I've run in it for about 10 hours. So I'll either be doing the Saffron Trail from Southend to Felsted, 50 miles at the end of November, or we'll be recceing leg 1 on the 1st and 2nd of December. So by then I'll know if I've ticked one of the boxes for kit, and this will be my go-to. Or this one, but only if I can't get everything in the black one and I have to use a bigger capacity one. They're both good though. That's not the best review in the world, is it? But I'll do a better one once I know definitely which one I'm going to use. All right. So let's close this video out there. There's the Strava graph. That's about 5 weeks of building up quite nicely, with a little drop, which I'd have probably planned anyway, all said and done. And next week is, I don't know really how to plan it, because I've got to see how I feel a little bit, but hopefully by Thursday some light jogging back and get everything rolling again the week after. And the great news is having some time off has finally given me some time to read this book, which I'm sure many of you have read. Really enjoying it, so I'll have finished it by the time I get back training again. So for now, thanks for listening and see you next week.